New at 5, dissension within the Fort Myers Police Department. Officers say they need more manpower and they don't trust department leaders.
This is the first time we are hearing what officers say is holding them back from improving their relationship with the community. NBC2's Levi Ismail is live downtown where officers are meeting right now. Levi?
More of these officers are taking part in these talks right behind me here at the Dr. Kerry Robinson Center. The talks are actually off limits to the public and even off limits to the Chief Derek Diggs himself. They say that this is an opportunity to talk about some of the things that are going on between the public and the police. But what caught most people off guard were some of the issues officers had within their own department.
We're going to keep everything open.
Rebuilding trust between police and the community starts here, and it's more than just dialogue. It's transparency.
We have many people throughout the entire world, but more specifically right here, that are just terrified.
Terrified of officers some feel threatened by, but for the first time, we're hearing what officers say they need.
I've said this since I've been down here. The division and the challenges that we have with the community and the police department is very, very deep.
In one-on-one interviews with these consultants, officers list a number of complaints, including a lack of resources, the need for 100 more officers, and a mistrust of upper administration.
I understand all those comments, but you guys got to remember that they weren't talking about this administration, they were talking about previous administrations.
Hearing about internal dissension is rare. Even more rare, officers opening up about crime-prone areas like Dunbar.
You automatically assume that people are uneducated. You automatically assume that it's drug-related or it's a lot of violence.
It's a stereotype Dunbar native Travis Loggins has fought all his life. Now, a successful academic living in Washington, D.C., Loggins joined the group after his cousin Stefan Strotter was killed at Club Blue.
Looking back at it, where I am now versus where I came from, the same incidents that are going on could have happened when I was around.
With the right guidance, Loggins says he avoided the violence and came to trust officers.
This is a community problem. Dunbar is not a city. The city is the city of Fort Myers.
Now, Chief Diggs tells me that they are working to hire more police officers, but he won't quite go into detail. Tomorrow morning, consultants will be hosting teens here at the Dr. Kerry Robinson Center and over at Harborside Events Center to talk to them about some of the challenges they face in trying to bridge the gap with police in Fort Myers. Right now, we're live in Fort Myers. Levi Ismail, NBC.
The Fort Myers Police Department is working hard to make the city safer. The police chief just hosted a forum of select city leaders to start the process of bridging the gap between police officers and the community. Wake News reporter Andrew Scheinthal live from the police department now with details on that.
Well, Chris, that meeting lasted about 2 hours today at the Harborside Events Center. A number of city leaders came together. The big message, though, this is all going to take a lot of time, but they're confident it will make the city safer.
Takeaway yesterday and today from this is that there's a lot of talent in this community.
For 2 hours Tuesday morning, community leaders from across Fort Myers came together to begin to find ways to make the city safer.
Part of this is about listening to the community, listen to their concerns, and let the community know that we don't have all the answers.
But Fort Myers Police Chief Derek Diggs hopes those answers will come to light over the next 24 months. That's how long this effort is expected to last. The chief says he wants to bring real change to the police department and the city it protects.
And if we're going to solve the challenges that we have to solve it as a city.
People in the audience raised concerns about things from the role of the school district to the state attorney's office absence from the conversation. Connie Walsh is a member of Lee Interfaith for Empowerment.
The police may know who the people are who are doing things, but without the ability to prosecute, without the ability to make arrests, that it's very, very difficult.
The chief says he's confident more leaders in the community will join in on the effort.
We're all in this together. We cannot bring the crime down and stop the violence unless we're all in this together.
And today the police chief also said that a big portion of this is going to be honesty. It's also what the panel was talking about today. They said that our youth can see through that. If they feel like leaders and adults in our community are not being honest or being fake, the youth will see that. That will not motivate them to better their lives. They say the way they're also going to do that is incorporate the youth in a lot of these programs. Live in downtown Fort Myers, Andrew Scheinthal, Wink News now.
Fort Myers, Florida. Shocking revelations came forward Tuesday in a meeting between Fort Myers police officers and consultants. Officers said they mistrust department leaders and it needs to be addressed. Officers took part in the closed sessions. Not even Police Chief Derek Diggs was allowed. The information will be presented to city leaders. "We are going to keep everything open," said Dr. Morris Jenkins from Southeast Missouri State University. "Everything must be open, and then we use that as a foundation." Jenkins is a consultant who has worked with Diggs on several community engagement projects in Ohio, and the two are carrying their progress to Fort Myers. Officers listed some comments including a lack of resources, the need for 100 more officers, and a general mistrust of upper administration. "I understand all those comments, but you have to remember that they were talking about previous administrations," Diggs said. "We are talking to officers on a regular basis, and we are going to get better at it." Hearing about internal dissension is rare, but even more rare are officers opening up about crime-prone areas like Dunbar. Officers simply wrote, "Dunbar, Dunbar, Dunbar," on their list of comments, leading many to speak out against the negative stereotypes. "You automatically assume that it's poverty-stricken," said Travis Loggins. "You automatically assume that people aren't educated. It's these stereotypes that Dunbar native Loggins has fought all his life." Now, a successful academic living in Washington, D.C., Loggins joined the group after his cousin Stefan Strotter was killed at Club Blue. "Looking back at where I am now, versus where I came from, the same incidents that are going on could have happened when I was around," said Loggins. With the right guidance, Loggins thinks he avoided the violence and came to trust officers. "No matter if we are on McGregor or if we are in the Dunbar community, we are still one," Loggins. Chief Diggs said the department is working to hire more officers but won't get into details. Wednesday, consultants will get a chance to speak with teens at the Dr. Carrie Robinson Center for the first time about what they feel would better relations with police. That meeting is open to the public from 10:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m.